The impact of the pandemic on globalization. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year! That was me and my family in Singapore. Little did we know that in the coming year, there would be a pandemic on the rise. Now that I think about it, I actually got sick in Singapore. I had a fever, I had chills, diarrhea, and I was told by the cruise staff that I needed to quarantine for a bit of a time. It didn't click at the time, but when you look at the symptoms of COVID-19, fever, chills, diarrhea, sickness, and more, I probably ticked off 50% of those. I'm Zinhle Ramano, founder of Black African and Beautiful, also known as Fab Media Group, a digital media agency that generates traffic in over 27 countries in 4 continents. And today, I'm here to speak to you about how globalization has abled the foundation of my work and the impact that the pandemic has had on it. The closing of borders around the world impacted a multitude of industries. Now, did anyone hear about Zoom before last year? Because I didn't. And all it took for the video conferencing service to take off was grabbing the right opportunity at the right time. And now Zoom is one of the most resourceful tools for digital and remote work. Technology is transforming a globalizing planet. COVID-19 created a unification of some sorts. As many of us were locked down in our homes, we held tighter and closer to our loved ones, making us worried about the uncertainty of an unknown future. In South Africa, not only were we met with coronavirus and its volatility, but we also had a shadow pandemic, being gender-based violence and femicide that was exacerbated by COVID. Every day on the news, we were flooded with taglines of number of infections and number of deaths, alongside missing girls, women, and children. Because of the lockdown measures, many victims were unable to escape their perpetrators and could not leave home to seek protection. This was my experience of COVID-19, and it activated feminine leadership and activism within me. So what does it mean to break borders for South Africa? And how can this great nation, my home, become a leader for a post-pandemic world in globalization? According to UNAIDS, the richest of countries are vaccinating a person every second, while the poorest of nations are yet to vaccine anyone as recent as March 2021. Protectionism can be defined as a theory or practice by which countries protect their domestic industries from foreign competition by taxing imports. There's no doubt that developing countries are stuck in a debt trap impacted by protectionism, COVID-19, and socio-economic issues. This debt trap continues to grow as money is borrowed from first world countries through initiatives such as COVAX. Suddenly, a non-third world problem became a third world problem. Can you afford to vaccine your citizens? Acquired debt represents a systemic risk to the global economy, according to the World Bank and International Monetary Fund. The economy of South Africa cannot keep up with the competition when it comes to limited access to vaccines. I believe that vaccine equity should be a human right for all, with no terms and conditions attached. The virus impacts us all. It does not care about your physiological, geographical, or economic identity. And this is what unifies us. Yet, when citizens don't have their health, they cannot contribute to an international economy. The ideology of globalization requires countries to work together towards a common goal. This is why alliances are formed, such as the African Union and SADC. The African Union and the African Center for Disease Control have developed a digital application called My COVID Pass. The ideology behind this app is so that we can ensure safer border crossing across the continent. It indicates who has been vaccinated and who hasn't, who has a medical history of COVID and who does not. The app is powered by Econet, a telecommunications group that has operations and investments in Africa and around the world. It is founded by Strive Masiyiwa, one of Africa's billionaires. Did someone say African excellence? But how does one strive for excellence when their health is at risk? Maslow's hierarchy of needs is an idea in psychology that consists of safety and needs, love and belonging, esteem, and self-actualization. So where does South Africa belong on this pyramid? Safety and needs. That has been the reality of the country 27 years into its democracy. The safety and needs of South African women needs to be prioritized. I've had the wonderful opportunity to work with an NGO called International Women's Forum South Africa. They do various initiatives, including Young Leaders Connect, of which I'm head of digital conversations. Through that, we seek to develop the next generation of women leaders. The time is now to mobilize women and to invest in the girl child in STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Through this, we may achieve a redefined post-pandemic globalized world. There's a saying that if you educate a man, you're educating an individual. Yet if you educate a woman, you're educating a nation. Yes, with the pandemic, we have witnessed rich countries hoarding vaccines. We have witnessed protectionism and violence against women exacerbated by COVID-19, including COVID-19 itself. Yet, what do we aspire to achieve? The 2020s are the divine time for a digital economy. Through this, we are witnessing remote work, technology transforming change, and the future will be defined by technology, monetary, and financial innovation. There's an African proverb that states that if you want to go fast, you go alone. Yet if you want to go far, you go together. And by now you're probably asking yourself, how do I get involved? Well, you must be lucky today because Young Leaders Connect is always looking to develop the next generation of women leaders. All you need to do to qualify is be between the ages of 23 to 40 years old and have an experience of 1 to 10 years in your field. In closing, the pandemic has had an effect on globalization. And yes, together we are on a path to recovery. But it is important and very vital to remember that no one is safe until everyone is safe. Thank you for listening. I'm Zinhle Raman.